All right, step number 5 in the home selling process is getting the appraisal completed. The purpose of the appraisal is for the buyer and the buyer's lender to ensure that the property that they are trying to buy from you is worth what they've offered to pay for it. Now, there are a few scenarios that can play out when it comes to the appraisal. If the appraisal value comes in at the value that they offered to pay for it or higher, there's no issue. We're all set. We move forward. If it happens to come in lower, it is a potential scenario where there is another round of negotiations, which again, we will talk about in the renegotiation phase of these steps. But that is the main purpose of the appraisal. Now, same thing as the inspections. It's something where we will work with you to schedule a time that is convenient for the appraiser to come out and appraise the property. Same thing. It's best if you're not there. That way they can get in there, get out. The appraisal is much shorter period of time than the inspections. Probably only need you out of the house for about an hour or so. Now, one of the things that I do for my clients to help make sure that we are doing everything we can to support the value of the property is to provide them with a list of comps that we think support the value, provide them with a list of improvements and updates that you've made to the property, and any unique features. We're going to point all of these out to the appraiser, again, in the effort to make sure that we are doing everything within our power to support the value of the property so that we don't run into any potential appraisal issues. Now, it is definitely important that the home shows well. So when we do know the date and time of the appraisal, you'll definitely want to tidy the place up, clean up a little bit. It really does go a long way when an appraiser can walk into a property and just visually say to themselves, wow, I can see why someone would pay X amount for the home. And that's really what we want them to do. That way, when they dig into the data and they dig into the numbers, they have that supporting feeling of a nice and tidy home. So again, please just make sure that the property's tidied up, just cleaned up a little bit when the appraiser is scheduled to come and do the appraisal. Now, as I already mentioned, if we do happen to run into a scenario where the property appraises for less than the value for which they offered to pay for it, this does potentially open up another round of negotiations. And again, same thing like the inspections, it does generally play itself out in one of 3 ways. The buyer can opt to just pay the difference themselves. We can reduce the price on our end, or somewhere in between, which more often than not, that's usually where it lands. But again, I'm going to do everything in my power to negotiate the best outcome on your behalf if we happen to run into this scenario, so that we can make sure that we keep your sale on track. This is step number 5 in the home selling process, getting the appraisal completed.